Hello and welcome to Eugene, Oregon for the Prefontaine Classic. We're in the Pacific Northwest of the USA, where the self-styled Tracktown USA today hosts its first Diamond League meeting for some 42 months. Yes, over 3 years. In fact, since this meeting was held here in the summer of 2018, the newly built Hayward Field Stadium hosting its first major international athletics meeting, with the World Championships coming around this time next year. So much is anticipated by the crowds of this arena, traditionally a knowledgeable crowd. Myself, Tim Hutchings, and Chris Dennis with you now for the next 2 hours. Conditions very good indeed in the arena, and some great matchups coming up. In the women's 100 metres, Jamaica's Elaine Thompson-Herah, the Olympic champion, up against US Olympic trials champion Sha'Carri Richardson, who could not compete in Tokyo. In the men's shot put, world record holder and Olympic champion Ryan Krauser against 2 times world champion and compatriot Joe Kovacs, who was second in Tokyo. And in the 1500, a fabulous coming together of the Olympic champion Jakob Ingebrigtsen of Norway, still only 20, against world champion Tim Cheruiyot, who took the silver behind him in Tokyo. Well, the Diamond League series culminates in the final in Zurich in just some 3 weeks' time. But on the track, we begin with a very competitive men's 800, and one event after another in this gathering is of the very highest caliber. Chris.
Thank you, Tim. Hello, everybody. Yes, the men's 800 metres, and it features gold and silver from Tokyo. And Emmanuel Correa, just right of picture there, the newly crowned Olympic champion, ensuring that the Kenyans retain the mantle from David Rudisha. There is Isaiah Harris in lane 9, showing that with Eric Sawinski. Ferguson Rotic, who took silver in Tokyo just 2 weeks ago. There is the newly crowned Olympic champion. Very, very strong finish to take the title in Tokyo. Clayton Murphy, well, disappointing for him. Olympic bronze in Rio 5 years ago, but a hugely disappointing final in Tokyo. A chance here to make amends for him. Elliot Giles, the British #1, who just missed out on a place in the final by a third of a second. He is back in action here in Eugene. Marco Arop from Canada, the 22-year-old, failed to make the final in Tokyo despite running 1:43 in Monaco in July. There is Oliver Dustin, the British #2, finished 6th in his heat in Tokyo. Failed to reach the semi-final. He was disappointed that Isaiah Jewett was due to take his place in lane 2. He's a non-starter, a very late withdrawal by the American. And Bryce Hoppel on the inside, 4th in Doha at the World Championships in 2019. Again, didn't make the final in Tokyo. But a chance here for Emmanuel Correa to back up that victory in Tokyo just 2 weeks ago. Men's 800 metres. Well, Eric Sawinski has been asked to go out pretty aggressively. 49.50 through the first 400 metres in the white vest there. Hugely experienced pacemaker, of course. And Bryce Hoppel there just on the inside. You can see Ferguson Rotic, that very long, rangy style. Clayton Murphy, who got in all sorts of trouble in that final in Tokyo. Just making sure he doesn't get boxed in on this occasion with Correa, who will be having really confidence coursing through his veins, coming here as an Olympic champion. Elliot Giles just tucking in behind him in effectively 3rd place. But as they come round to the bell, Tim, Sawinski doing a fine job, Correa looking very comfortable in 3rd.
No, that's right. Sawinski himself is a 1:44 performer. His best distance probably 600. Goes through in 50.61, and that's Sawinski. So that pack, led by Murphy, who's a 3:52 miler, actually quite a bit slower than they really wanted. Dustin, the Briton, in 2nd place. They're running a very mature race, Chris, but 300 to go, and Murphy in charge.
Murphy in charge, exactly where he wants to be. Dustin very aggressive as well. Giles on the inside with Correa, the Olympic champion, just on his shoulder. Isaiah Harris taking closer order as they enter the final 200 metres. Dustin, though, very aggressive indeed. Has he gone too early? And here comes Arop as well onto the shoulder. Dustin, lights out, looking as though he's straining a little bit. Little bit of a clip there. Elliot Giles having to be careful. Now Correa with that rocking and rolling style. But Arop, the Canadian, is well clear here. This is a turn-up for the books. The Canadians in pursuit. Rotic and Correa for the line on the dip. No doubt at all about the win-up. Arop in 1:44.51, just outside, incidentally, the winning time, or just inside, I should say, the winning time for Korea in Tokyo. But Korea on this occasion perhaps getting his timing wrong, and all credit to the 22-year-old from Canada, Marco Arop, who failed to make the final in Tokyo and is a winner here in Eugene, 1:44.51, and he left the two Kenyans trailing in his wake.
Well, Arop ran a brilliant race, and Dustin here did him a favour because the others having to come wide, and here is Arop, kicks in hard, and he steals a couple of metres, and they never got away from him. To be fair, Chris, with 50 to go, he finds another gear and pulls out another couple of metres from that pack, and that's a very comfortable win indeed from the Canadian. Brilliant running. The others just run out of real estate because, frankly, I think another 50 or 70 metres, they might have got back to him, but he judged it perfectly.
Well, what a start to this meeting here in Eugene. A real turn for the books. The gold and silver medalists from Tokyo playing second fiddle here to Marco Arop from Canada. A couple of great scalps there for the Canadian, and he got his timing absolutely bang on. Confirmation then. Arop, 1:44.51. Rotic, almost identical time to his winning time in Tokyo 2 weeks ago. And Korea, the Olympic medalist, the Olympic gold medalist, having to settle for third, with Giles a creditable fourth.
Well, there's that Hayward Field Tower honouring greats from the University of Oregon in years gone by to the triple jump. And here is Pedro Pichardo of Portugal. And Pichardo, the winner in Tokyo, twice World Championship silver medalist. That's not a bad effort from Pichardo. His opener looks well beyond 17 metres. His winning distance in Tokyo, 17 metres 98. He is already a member of the 18-metre club, and I must remind you, there are only 6 athletes in history who have gone beyond 18 metres. And that from Pichardo. Throws the gauntlet down. He's last in the jumping order of the 7, but that's his first round effort.
Lots of action on the infield already. Caterina Stefanidi, the former Olympic champion until 2 weeks ago. Second attempt here with the bar at 4:52. Rather lackluster in Tokyo. And that continues here. Stefanidi, who in the past has always raised her game quite literally for the big tournaments, for the big occasion. Not so in Tokyo, and having a 1 or 2 difficulties here early on in Eugene. So one more attempt at 4:52, which quite frankly, by her standards, is pretty pedestrian.
You're right, Chris. Stefanidi would normally pop over that without any trouble at all. Let's go back to the pole vault now, where Newell is in play. But here is Olivia Groover, third and final attempt at 4:52 for the US Olympic Trials 4th placer. Pan Am Games finalist a couple of years ago. But there is a slight wind across the arena, just a gusting wind, not really strong, but just enough maybe to affect these athletes to a degree. She's a 4:73 vault at Groover. Oh, gives that quite a clatter, but it stays up. Oh, huge sigh of relief from the American there.
Will Clay then, who finished just outside the medals in Tokyo 2 weeks ago. Of course, no Christian Taylor, still recovering from that ruptured Achilles. So the field opened up, and it opened up beautifully, didn't it, for Pichardo in Tokyo, and he's already leading the way here in Eugene. Will Clay then. Decent on takeoff. That looks better. That looks much better from Will Clay. Opened up with 16:32. How many tussles has he had over the years with Christian Taylor? Really setting this event alight, particularly a couple of years ago. And that is an improvement. That's his best effort so far. 16.83 in round 5, puts him in 3rd place, and of course the final 3 will operate here as we have had all season. The top 3 after the first 6 rounds will have a final jump off after the first 5 rounds, I should say.
And Chris Pichardo leading with that 17.24, passing in rounds 2, 3 and 4. Back to this pole vault where Caterina Stefanidi, the Rio Olympic champion, finds herself in a rough spot of bother. And yeah, you rightly said, Chris, just lackluster in Tokyo. And it hasn't improved at all. She was 4th in Tokyo, out of the medals, the world champion in 2017, and out she goes at her opening height, 4.52.
Action on the track coming thick and fast. The next is the women's 3,000 metres steeplechase. A full podium from Tokyo here, plus Nora Giruto, the world #1 in 2021. But welcome back to Courtney Frerichs, and what a performance she produced in Tokyo. Front-running, courageous, bold. And the question here is, can she go sub-9 in Eugene for the first time? Silver medalist, of course, from Tokyo 2 weeks ago. Hivan Kieng, who took the bronze behind her, many people's favourite to take the title in Tokyo. There is Chespol, who's got fond memories of this track. We'll remind you of that later. But there is the newly crowned Olympic champion, Poruv Chimutai, who was a worthy winner in the Japanese capital 2 weeks ago. Women's 3,000 metre steeplechase. Seven and a half laps of the track, of course, 4 barriers per lap with the water jump as well. The pace that's been requested, 71 to 71.5, which will take them through a kilometre in just under 3 minutes, 2:57, 2:58, that sort of order, and 2 kilometres in 5:55 or so. But interesting, Tim, to see how Chimutai plays this, and more importantly, Frerichs, who was so bold and so courageous and really just split the field apart, making that break with, what, about a mile to go, and playing to her strength. And in the end, she almost hung on.
Well, that's right, yeah. I really admired Frerichs, though, going into the Olympic final. She was oozing confidence. She knew she was in great shape. She stated it. She went out publicly and said, I'm in great form. I really want this. And she so nearly carried it off. Chris, it was a tough last lap for her to lose that front position. But yes, Chimutai here, the Olympic champion, I suspect will pick up where she left off. She looked very strong on that final lap to storm to gold in Tokyo, and this is such a tough event. It really is. Those barriers don't get any lower as you get more and more tired.
A couple of notable absentees. I should mention Beatrice Chepkoech, still the world record holder, not here after a disappointing 7th in the final in Tokyo, and Emma Coburn, who really had a final to forget, sadly, still recovering from her exertions. She also withdrew from this field here in Eugene. So the pacemaker, Chepngetich there in the white, leading them through. Chimutai, the newly crowned Olympic champion. Kieng is there as well, and Giruto, we shouldn't forget her. She wasn't in Tokyo, still waiting for her transfer allegiance from Kenya to Kazakhstan to come through, but she's here still as a Kenyan national.
Well, we can head over to the women's high jump now. Is Vashti Cunningham at 1.83 meters. That's 6 feet exactly. Pops over that without any trouble, does Cunningham. And that you would expect. Although she was very disappointed with her 6th place in Tokyo, she has jumped 2:02 this year. She's 3rd on the world rankings. Cunningham, the world indoor champion in Portland, Oregon, just a couple of hours drive away from Eugene back in 2016.
Approaching a kilometre then in the women's steeplechase. And all the main protagonists still in there through 800 metres in 2:18, so they're there or thereabouts. Stretched out, Frerichs back in 4th place effectively if you ignore the pacemaker.
We can go back to the pole vault now, and Holly Bradshaw took 2 attempts at 4.52 but went clear at that height. One of only 2 athletes clear at 4.52, although Katie Najat, the US Olympic champion from Tokyo, hasn't entered the competition yet, and that from Bradshaw, her first attempt at 4.62, looked very awkward. lacking coordination. She's probably thinking, what on earth went on there? It's funny, isn't it, Chris, the way that a season can pivot on just one small event for so many of these athletes. And Bradshaw, who vaulted fabulously in Tokyo to get at last that Olympic medal, just looking out of sorts there. And in the steeplechase, you know, my mind goes back to Tokyo, where the running of Frerichs' teammate was so difficult. Emma Coburn, who crashed to the track at the final water jump when leading and looking to be break 9 minutes at Monaco just 2 or 3 weeks prior to the Olympic Games. And that seems to have sort of wrong-footed her season. She never really got back from that. She didn't look herself in Tokyo, and it's disappointing she's not able to step out here and run the 2017 World Champion.
I can tell you they went through the first kilometre in 2:55, which is ahead of the requested pace, and it's Jiruto, the world #1, who wasn't in Tokyo, remember, who's leading the way, the Kenyan 25-year-old. Impressive in winning in Doha. She ran a very impressive, just outside 9 minutes, and the goal for Frerichs is to try and get under 9 here.
So Najot then enters the competition at last. Vaulted superbly in Tokyo, did the American. Takes over the mantle of world #1 with Stefanidis struggling, and Sandy Morris, of course, also out of sorts. Jen Schur, US record holder. Before Sandy Morris, also not in her best form this year and close to retirement, I suspect. As Najot there doesn't look comfortable either at her opener, and that could be significant.
So inconsistencies all over the place at the moment. Some of the big names perhaps having a little bit of a hangover from Tokyo 2 weeks ago. Frerichs now taking closer order. So Jiruto there, the world #1, leading the way, approaching the 2 kilometre mark, but it's quick. Frerichs there, well placed. The silver medalist from Tokyo. Kieng left of picture there, who took bronze. And in the middle, in the yellow vest of Uganda, the Olympic champion Chimuta, who reeled in Frerichs with, what, about 250 to go. Such a bold move by Frerichs, and she was absolutely delighted. And now a little bit of daylight starting to open up between the first two and the chasing pack.
Yes, Frerichs looking good, isn't she? Right up on her toes. Looks up for this. Gaps beginning to appear.
I mentioned chess ball there. We just got a first glimpse of her, Tim and I, in Eugene in 2017. Who could forget the missing shoe? She lost her shoe midway through the race, put the shoe back on, and only went and produced the second fastest time of all time in this very stadium, which has been renovated, of course. One of the outstanding memories of this event in Eugene, what, 4 years ago now. Incredible.
Well, Chris, that first kilometre, 2:55, was incredibly quick. It's allowed them to have a bit of a breather in that middle kilometre. It was a 3:04, but they still went through 2K in 5:59, under 9-minute tempo. So this is building wonderfully for the American Frerichs.
Well, Frerichs is the American national record holder, just outside 9 minutes. 9 minutes and 85 hundredths of a second, so she hasn't got much to shave off it. And what a way to back up that silver medal in Tokyo, if she can do it. And at the moment, she's the only one who is going with the world #1, Jiruto.
Those gaps are becoming insurmountable, and Frerichs has got a target. Sometimes so much easier in distance races to be tucked in a metre or two behind a front runner, somebody determined to lay down a hard tempo, than to be making the pace yourself. Jiruto will know full well she'll be sensing Frerichs there, even if she doesn't have her in her sight, in her range of vision. Water jumps become more and more significant here, as you can see. Jiruto, Chris, with that hurdling technique where she doesn't touch the barrier, and Frerichs probably lost about a metre there by putting her foot on the barrier. It's what the difference between the best of the Kenyans and the East Africans and the rest of the world.
Yeah, 1 foot off, 1 foot on, 1 foot off is the normal way, but the African runners just clear the barrier very, very cleanly indeed. So Jiruto, the world #1, leading through, just opening up a little bit of a gap as they hit the bell. 400 to go, Frerichs in pursuit. Kieng, the bronze medalist from Tokyo, is in third, but a distant third, and Chimuta, the champion, is way out of it. And Jiruto, well, fresh, having missed Tokyo, again, clears that barrier very cleanly indeed. barring any accidents, down the back straight for the last time. Barring any accidents, Giruto will come home for a comfortable victory here, and it's a battle really against the clock for Frerichs from an American perspective. Can she get under 9 minutes for the first time in her career? Kiang distant in third place, and Chimutai is now back in sixth place with Chespol in fourth.
Well, Chris, only those 5 athletes ever have gone under 9 minutes, and Frerichs, having gone through the bell in about 7:48, is surely going to do it here. Giruto looking quite supreme there out in front.
Well, Giruto into the home straight, just the final barrier to go, cleanly over. Now it's lights out for the line. Her own world lead is 9 minutes and 67 hundredths of a second. She's going to smash this. This is an extraordinary time, 8:53.65. That is the third fastest time of all time. And what's the finishing time of Courtney Frerichs? It's come through 8:57.80 unofficially. She has smashed her lifetime best. Courtney Frerichs, Olympic silver 2 weeks ago in Tokyo, and now backs it up with a national record and a huge lifetime best, 8:57.77. Even Kieng coming through just outside minutes in a season's best to finish third. But what a performance from Giruto, the fastest in the world this year, the third fastest of all time. Frerichs under 9 minutes for the first time in a national record.
Well, Frerichs, I got 8:57.54. We'll give you the official time very shortly, but she battled for that one, didn't she, Frerichs? And she has smashed the 9 minute barrier. She hasn't just gone through it. She had the perfect pacemaker in a way, Chris, for those last couple of laps, even though here Giruto turns it on at the bell and eases away. A little stutter at that final water jump. Frerichs very much in control. And that's a brilliant run for her to become the 6th person ever under 9 minutes. But Giruto, what can you say? Absolutely in a different class.
Well, again, just to confirm that only Beatrice Chepkoech, the current world record holder, and Ruth Chebet have run quicker in history than that run that we've just seen there. Extraordinary. A meeting record, it goes without saying. All the letters flashing up on our screens here. PB, world lead and meeting record. But from a national, domestic perspective, what a performance there from Courtney Frerichs. Personally, under 9 minutes for the first time, and, well, for the second time, Tim, in 2 weeks. She has a huge smile on her face. Second in Tokyo, second here, and a landmark performance from Frerichs, under 9 minutes for the first time. Kieng, as she did in Tokyo, finishing down in third.
Well, that shows, as if we needed reminding, Chris, what a quick track this is. Some of the times produced in those US Olympic trials back in late June were quite astonishing. And conditions too very good. That, I think, is confirmed by that run. Many laps of the track, and if it had been windy and significantly windy, we would have seen the times pushed back a little bit. Here is Najot, the Olympic champion, and when the adrenaline needs to flow, it flows aplenty. That is a big vault from Katie Najot. She desperately needed that. Her third and final attempt at 4.62 meters. It is her opening height. She's the last to come in. But she will battle on now. And Holly Bradshaw, by the way, has gone clear at this height at the second time of asking 4.62, as she did at the previous height, 4.52. So she leads on count back from the Olympic champion. The bar now moves up to 4.72 meters. So these 4-inch incremental increases in bar height. Men's triple jump. We're down to the final 3, and Donald Scott comes here with 17.03 in round 5, but discount that, forget everything that's gone before. This is the do it now or never stage of the competition, and Donald Scott producing that 17.03 in round 5. That's a replay of his best effort, his first time over 17 meters in this competition.
Zango there, who finished second with 17.12 with his second round effort. And here is Pedro Pichardo with what proved to be his only jump of the entire 5 rounds, 17.24 with his opener. So those are our final 3. They will jump in reverse order, as is tradition in the final 3. Scott first, then Zongo, and then Pichardo. in the final three of the men's triple jump.
Zango producing that 17.12 in the second round. It was his only effort beyond 17 meters. I do think, Chris, there's, you mentioned quite rightly, the sort of hangover from Tokyo, even though there's been a 2-week gap since the track and field finished. 2 weeks today, actually, since the track and field athletics in the stadium finished in Tokyo. Of course, the men's marathon was on the final Sunday. But I think a lot of athletes have not only had to travel back and get over the jet lag, but get over the emotional turmoil of an Olympic Games, whether they performed well or not. And that is a factor you cannot quantify. It's very difficult. But here goes Scott then. This is his 6th and final round effort, but this is the do or die final 3 stage of the competition. Forget everything that's gone before. That from Scott looks okay. I don't think it was beyond 17 meters. But it lays down a mark that Zango, who goes next, and then Pichardo must chase.
Yeah, the advantage, of course, of jumping last is that you know exactly what you need to do, so that's the advantage that Pichardo has. So the marker laid down by Donald Scott, just waiting for it to come up. And as Tim mentioned, the first 5 rounds completely erased. This is winner takes all. Total jeopardy. It's been trialled this year throughout the Diamond League season, and it'll be reviewed at the end of the year. 16.96, that's the mark that both Zongo in a moment and then Pichardo will have to try and beat. 16.96, the opening effort there from Donald Scott.
Well, here goes Zango. Opened with a 16.22, then a 17.12. That was the best of his first 5 rounds. Wipe away those opening efforts, though, in terms of who finishes first, second, and third between these 3. Scott, 16.96. Zango, capable of huge efforts. Ooh, that wasn't pretty, was it? Writhing around mid-air, Zango. He's jumped 17.82 this year. That is his lifetime best. Good on the board. Let's have a look at him, keeping his tights on. Yeah, just holds it together there. Really battles to control it there in the air on that final phase. And squeezes a few more centimeters out of that final effort. And it is 17.08 for Zango. Hugues Fabrice Zango of Burkina Faso.
So that's the target for Pichardo, who was leading the way after 5 rounds, but he knows exactly what he has to do. Needs to find 17.09, and just to put it into perspective, his card in Tokyo was super impressive. 17.98 was the jump that got him to the title, the Olympic title. So here he is, our newly crowned Olympic champion, looking to beat, or better, 17.08 for another Diamond League victory here. Oh, so fluent, so good, and it's a winning jump, surely. Pichardo in a class of his own here, continuing that form, the momentum from Tokyo. It's as if he's canned it and stuck it in a bottle and taken it on the plane with him from Tokyo all the way to Eugene, because he is in fine form. 17.63, the winning jump, and the Olympic champion is the winner here in Eugene, comfortably so.
We'll talk about bookending your competition, Chris. 17.24 is open, and he knew he'd done enough then. Didn't jump rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, didn't need to. And then a massive 17.63. That would have been good enough for the gold medal in Tokyo anyway. The silver going to Zhu of China with 17.57, just over 2 weeks back. Saving himself, I suspect, for competitions to come. It's a desperately straining, stressful discipline on the body, on the lower limbs. Well, job done. Just 2 jumps.
So more valuable points accumulated towards the Diamond League final, of course, in Zurich in early September.
Oh, the women's high jump. Levchenko now, 1.90 m. She came in at 179. Very early height, frankly, for an athlete of her caliber. 23-year-old was 8th in Tokyo. That left knee quite heavily taped. Gives it a skim, but it stays up. Cleared 179 first time, 183 first time, took 2 attempts at 187. So she's had a busy time of it, and we're only now getting to the serious end of the competition. Levchenko, remember, is a 202 jumper from 2 years back when she was just 21.
Next action on the track, the men's 200 meters.
What a field goes here. Kenny Benarek of the USA, the Tokyo Olympic silver medalist, goes in lane 6. Kyrie King out in lane 9. Only 10th ranked in the USA this year, but he's world number 20. That underlines the strength of 200-meter running in the USA. There is Josephus Lyles, the younger brother by a year of Noah Lyles. Not a bad lane draw for him, lane 7. Semi-finalist in the Olympic trials on this track just a couple of months back. And there is Noah Lyles, reigning world champion from 2 years ago, the bronze medalist in Tokyo. 4th quickest athlete all time, though. Remember that fabulous 19.50 in Lausanne a couple of years ago. Benarek there, 2nd in the US Championships, 200, 4th in the 100. He's world number 2. That personal best time coming in Tokyo when he took the silver medal. Good draw for him too in lane 6. There's Rai Benjamin, silver medalist in the Tokyo 400-meter hurdles. Number 2 all time at 400 hurdles with that 46.17. Behind Carsten Warholm. He goes in 5, Benjamin. Aaron Brown goes in 4. The Tokyo finalist came 6th, the Canadian. World number 10 this year so far. Has a bronze from the sprint relay. That could become a silver if the British squad do get disqualified. Vern Norwood goes in lane 3, 5th in the US Olympic trials, but he has a bronze medal from Tokyo, ran the qualifying heat for the US 4x4 squad. And Jerome Blake goes in lane 2 for Canada. He again, a member of that Canadian 4x1 squad that took bronze at the Olympic Games. He ran the second leg down the back straight for the Canadian quartet. Well, there's a new look to that far corner of Hayward Field with the huge tower above these athletes, as they are called to starters' orders. I think a lot of people surprised that Noah Lyles couldn't maintain his winning streak in major championships from gold in Doha 2019 and take gold in Tokyo, but Andre de Grasse 19.62 and Lyles' time 1974 for the bronze. This is the men's 200. Blake in 2, Norwood 3, Brown in 4, Rai Benjamin in 5, Benarek in 6, Noah Lyles in 7.
First false start, and Kyrie King, Tim. Kyrie King potentially in lane 2.
Kyrie King out in lane 9, I think, isn't he? Yeah, lane 9. Extreme left of picture as we see them. It's a 9-lane track, so they're using 9 lanes for many of these lane races, and that's good to see that the tradition of 8 athletes in lane races is being just pushed aside and somebody else given an opportunity. Now, it is indeed, has been confirmed to us that 0.068, the reaction time of Kyrie King. And I fear that for the American, that might be his race over. There you can see the reaction times. And King way inside the permissible limit. The rest of them just have to reset, refocus. Noah Lyles. Maybe a chance for a degree of revenge here against his compatriot Bednarek, who took that silver in Tokyo behind Andre de Grasse. Well, Kyrie King still there. Running under protest, we are told. Kyrie King, which suggests that whatever he does in this race will be invalid if the full start is confirmed post-race. So once again then, the men's 200 meters. Meeting record belongs to one Justin Gatlin. We'll see him later on in the 100. 19.58 it was back in 2015, 6 years ago now. Jerome Blake goes in 2, Vern Norwood in 3, Aaron Brown of Canada goes in 4, then Roy Benjamin in 5. Roy Benjamin with that 400-meter best of 44.31. Expect him to maybe come late down the home straight. Kenny Bednarek goes in 6. Noah Lyles in 7. Josephus Lyles in 8. And Kyrie King nearest the camera in lane 9.
Set.
Well, a really good start there from Roy Benjamin. Roy Benjamin, centre of picture. Bednarek with the headband outside him, but Noah Lyles has run a fabulous bend too, and he has a metre lead over Bednarek, and he's moving away. And this is the strongest part of his race, Noah Lyles. It's a 2-metre lead. It's almost 3 metres at the line there. The time, 19.52. That's a new meeting record. Gatlin's meeting record of 19.68 is erased. And that is more like the Noah Lyles we've become familiar with and grown to love on the racing circuit in the USA and on the European Diamond League meetings. And if confirmed, that is the fastest time in the world by a full second, and it takes the top spot from de Grasse's win in Tokyo. I know that Noah Lyles, Chris, would swap this win 1,000 times for a gold medal from Tokyo, but what a run.
What a run, a real statement here, and just a feeling that actually it was a statement because of that third place, which I'm sure he was disappointed in. Just outside his personal best, a comfortable world lead. Look at the intent on his face, so aggressive. And I can tell you, it's the 5th fastest time of all time, just behind his own 1950 that he ran a couple of years ago. What a performance. And just a little message there, perhaps to himself and to the rest of the field from Tokyo, to say, only bronze in Tokyo, you know, but don't write me off just yet.
Well, he was so focused on his own race, dipping at the line, didn't get to see anybody else down the home straight because he had that 1-metre lead coming off the bend. Didn't get away the quickest out of the blocks, but great from the top of the bend and into the straight. That's where he built the lead, and then he built it further. Comfortable win, the quickest time in the world this year for Noah Lyles over Bednarek. And Josephus Lyles, his brother, a personal best in 3rd place, 20.03.
So let's get back to this pole vault competition with just Bradshaw and Katie Najot, the Olympic champion, left in. 4.72 the bar. Oh, that's nice. First time clearance from Bradshaw, the bronze medalist, and she looks a different athlete, doesn't she? In the last couple of years, she's had a wonderful, wonderful 2021, worked really hard, had a great indoor season, and was just knocking on the door of a global medal, like many of the British athletes, including Laura Muir, who we're going to be seeing later on. And Bradshaw finally got that global medal, and she's taking that form and that confidence into here in Eugene.
Najot then, with one failure to her name at 4.72. Having seen Bradshaw go clear first time, She knows she needs this and more. She's to win this competition in front of the home crowd. Gets it. But there's more to do. But that's a bit better. Third time clearance at 462. Second time clearance at 472. The next height is 477. Just these two left in the competition. Olivia Groover went out at previous height 462. She finishes in third place, having cleared 452. But I think this is one of those disciplines which is so demanding technically that maybe the Tokyo fatigue is taking its toll.
Bradshaw then, last attempt at 482. No, wasn't there, didn't feel it. Vaulted 485, you may remember, to take that bronze medal in Tokyo.
Well, Najot has a chance to steal the win here. She's had two failures. She's seen Bradshaw vault just before her and take and fail her third attempt. Oh, yes. That mettle of a champion rises to the surface. 482 it is, the winning height. They both passed, by the way, at the previous height, 477. That presumably by mutual agreement. The meeting record is 485 by Jen Schur 3 years ago. But that for Najot keeps her on top of the pack. Bradshaw has to settle for second place after that first time clearance at 472, her best of the day.
Next action on the track, the women's 100 metres, possibly the hottest lineup in any race outside of a global championships. Look at the quality there. 3 of the 6 fastest women in history are all here. Let's take you through the lineup. Tiana Daniels from the USA goes in lane 1, the USA number 2. In lane 2, US number 1, Javianne Oliver, who failed to reach the final in Tokyo. Shericka Jackson, who left Tokyo with a bronze medal in the individual event and gold in the 4x100 metres relay. She goes in 3. In 4, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, silver in Tokyo to go with the 2 gold medals from Beijing and London. 34 years old, 10:63 she ran early this year. Sha'Carri Richardson, 21 years old, the new kid on the block, all hair and flair. Wasn't in Tokyo. A 1-month suspension for a recreational drug, keeping her out of the games, but she's been very active, both on the track and on social media. She has a point to prove here in 5. Next to her, the double Olympic champion, Elaine Thompson-Herah, retained her 100 and 200 metre titles, 10:61, the second fastest in history. Marie-Josée Tarlou, yet again 4th, the dreaded 4th place in Tokyo, where she finished in Rio in both the 100 and 200. She goes in lane 7. Mujinga Kambundji had a fine Olympics in Tokyo, made the final in both the 1 and the 200. Ran 10:95 in the heats. And in lane 9, the youngster from Jamaica, 19 years old, Brianna Williams, double world junior champion at just 16 years old. The future, you feel, of Jamaican sprinting. So Daniels in 1, Oliver 2, Jackson, the bronze medalist from Tokyo, from Jamaica, in 3, Fraser-Pryce, Jamaica, in 4, Richardson, USA, goes in 5, the blonde hair, Thompson-Herah in 6, Jamaica, the defending champion from Tokyo, Tarlou 7, Kambundji 8, Williams in lane 9, left of picture. Women's 100 metres.
Stand up, stand up, stand up.
Starter is not ready. And Tim, just a thought, the quality that has been put together just 2 weeks after the Olympic Games is real. It's the Olympic final perhaps that we could have had, with all due respect to Dina Asher-Smith, who's not here in the 100, but with the inclusion of Richardson, this is perhaps Olympic final quality.
Not exactly right, and there is real significance too, of course, with Sha'Carri Richardson have been denied that opportunity to compete on the Olympic stage, all the more determined here. She was the sensation of the first half of the summer in the sprints, Chris, and I think a lot of people were a little disappointed when she travelled across to the UK early summer and in the cold and wind and rain of Gateshead in the northeast of England was well beaten by Dina Asher-Smith. But this is more like home turf for Richardson in lane 5.
So a reminder, Fraser-Price in 4, Richardson in 5, Thompson-Hira, the double Olympic champion, in lane 6. Women's 100 metres. Away first time, this time, and Thompson-Hira into her running, 4th from left. Thompson-Hira also going very well. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Richardson's nowhere. What a performance there. It's the fastest in the world this year, 10:54 the winning time. Thompson-Hira continues her form from Tokyo. What a statement, understated celebration. Goodness me, it's the second fastest time in history. Only Flojo has gone quicker, and she's beaten her own time from Tokyo, 10:61, and now she's just seeing it. A scarcely believable 10:54, and I'm afraid Sha'Carri Richardson left in the blocks. Fraser-Price 10:73 in second, Jackson 10:76. It's the podium from Tokyo once again, and once again it's Thompson-Hira who is quite simply a class apart.
And a Jamaican 1-2-3, Chris, and the challenge of Sha'Carri Richardson evaporated well before halfway in this one. But look at Thompson-Hira responding to that fast start from Fraser-Price, who probably gave her the impetus to push through that second half and win by 2 meters and going away. And for many people, Chris, that will be considered the unofficial world record. The whole industry, the whole sport knows there are huge question marks around that world record of Flojo from the 1988 trials, or was it 84 trials, 10.49. Everybody knows that that is a time that is squinted at by the statisticians of the sport, but Thompson-Hira is the real deal. Boy, how fast was she going through that second half to pull away from an athlete of the caliber of Fraser-Price, who, let's not forget, ran 10:63 back in early June.
10:54, just to underline, the second fastest in history, only behind Flojo, with a big question mark and asterisk over that particular time. Thompson-Hira, not bad, you know, for somebody who's been nursing, or had been nursing, an Achilles injury for the last couple of years. She just is going from strength to strength and backs up the Olympic title, the double-double here in Eugene. Outstanding.
Well, back to this women's high jump first attempt at 193 for Cunningham. That's nice. Yeah, she has this lovely ability to appear almost weightless when she jumps and maintains her perfect card. Her 4th height, 183, 187, 190, and they're 193 all first time. And she's the only athlete to have done that so far. Well, the next event on the track, the women's 800 meters. What a race this promises to be. It is absolutely loaded, and a very fast pace has been asked for. The meeting record is 155.7 by Kastia Semenya from 2 years ago, but there is some doubt over whether that will last the next few minutes. Kellyn Whitney has been asked to go out in 54.5 or 55 seconds for the first 400. Nakai, the world champion from Uganda, is out there sharing lane 9 with her. I think Mo of the USA, the Tokyo Olympic champion, goes in lane 8. It's for her we suspect this very quick pace has been laid down. She's still only 19, world number 1, 11th fastest all time. I rather think she might move into the top 10 after this race. There's the young Briton, only 19 again. The Tokyo Olympic silver medalist, Keely Hodgkinson from Great Britain, European indoor champion back in early March in Poland. Great 400 speed. Hodgkinson, although not as good as Mo. Raven Rogers, the bronze medalist in Tokyo. They're all here. Second in the World Championships in Doha. Rogers, still only 24, but it seems she's been around a long time. Her former training partner, RJ Wilson, goes inside her, although Wilson, only a semi-finalist in Tokyo. She's struggling for form this year, frankly. Her season's best 158.3, which doesn't cut it with several of these women who have run 155 this summer. Natoya Gould, the Jamaican, 8th in Tokyo, the Commonwealth bronze medalist back in 2018. She's broached new ground this last couple of years, 156.4 in Stockholm just before Tokyo. She's in good form. Kate Grace, well, she was 7th at the US Olympic trials and then showed fabulous form in the Diamond League circuit just prior to Tokyo, but obviously wasn't in the US team. She took wins in Stockholm and a very quick time in Monaco, where she set her personal best at 157. Gemma Ricci, frustrated 4th at those Tokyo Olympic Games a couple of weeks ago. 156.9 was her lifetime best, though, in that final. No more could be asked of the Briton. And Sabrina Sutherland goes on the inside. 158.7 she ran at Sacramento on the 10th of July, the 25-year-old on the inside. So Athing Mu, NCAA 400-meter champion back in mid-June in 49.57. She has it all. Fabulous 400 speed, and many believe there's more to come there, and great 800 strength as well. So will she attack sub-155 territory here? There's a group of just 7 women who have ever gone under 155. Mo on 155.21 was close to joining them with that win in Tokyo. But you can see Kaylin Whitney, who's a great sprinter in her own right, has gone out to 200. And she's looking here to go through in around 27 seconds, and she does that, and Mo has got to go with her. You can see Hodgkinson there slotting in behind Athing Mu, who is a little reluctant maybe to go with Whitney at quite such a quick tempo through the first 300 meters. We're looking for at least 55 seconds for Mo at 400, but Whitney 7, 8 yards or meters in front, not really helping Mo at this stage. The rest of the field wallowing in the wake of this quick tempo.
Well, it is quick, 54.19 inside the requested pace, but look at that natural, silky smooth running style of Athing Mu. And only Keely Hodgkinson is living with this speed at the moment.
The world record is 153.28 by Jarmila Kratochvilova of the Czech Republic, set back in 1983. Mo seeking away. The gap is 12 meters and growing with every stride. 200 meters to run. She comes here to 600 meters and around 1:24. Ricci in second place now. Gould in third. Hodgkinson beginning to struggle on the top of the bend as they come into the straight now, or Mo comes into the straight, but she's 20 meters in the lead. Gould having a wonderful race here with Kate Grace for second place, but they're in a different race to Athing Mu down the home straight. Looks to be running in treacle a little bit here as she keeps fighting hard against the lactic acid. Only a few meters to go. Watch the clock, it's quick. 1:55.04. She was struggling through those last 20 or 30 meters. She'll be frustrated with that. She wins by a huge margin against a tremendously strong field. Remember, both the silver and bronze medalists from Tokyo were in that lineup. But Mo wins by 10 meters and more. And I wonder, Chris, whether or not with another week or two of freshness, there might be more in those legs of Athing Mu. Although we have to remember that she has set 3 outdoor personal bests this year, and that's another one. That's a 4th, by the way. But back on the 17th of April, she ran 1:57.7. That was a personal best. So it's been a very, very long summer already for the young American.
Yeah, different class, and she will be very, very frustrated, because I think going into the final 50 meters, she was on course for possibly a top 5 of all-time time, and just started tying up and hitting the dreaded treacle as the lactic set in. But at this stage, down the back straight with 2:50 to go, looking very, very comfortable indeed. Ricci, I mistook her for Hodgkinson, I apologise. Ricci making the running in second, but Mo just tying up. And in the end, actually, it was Kate Grace who came through for second place. But it still puts her, Mo, 8th fastest of all time, and she's still only 19 years old.
Well, it is a personal best. You mustn't take anything away from that. 1:55.04, of course, the fastest time in the world this year. She already topped the world rankings, and what an exciting talent is. There is so much more to come. I have little doubt she'll be back on this track for the World Championship trials next summer, and then those World Championships where she has to start the 2022 season as outstanding favourite to take a world title. A few more photographers want that essential shot, and rightly so. That is a non-Diamond League race, by the way, but what a fabulous race it was. An American record, of course, along with that meeting record and the fastest time in the world this year. That personal best from Athingmo, 1:55.04. Kate Grace, 1:57.60, taking a lot of big scalps, considering she didn't even run in Tokyo. Gould in third.
Yeah, all credit to Kate Grace, worth a mention. Didn't go to Tokyo, but has been brilliant in recent weeks. Now, back to the high jump. Bar at 1:96, Irina Gerashenko with her first attempt. Should say that the likes of Maria Lasitskeni, sadly unable to come to Eugene, unable to obtain a visa. Likewise, Angelika Sidorova in the pole vault. But still good quality here in the high jump field. Gerashenko then. Yes, nice. The faintest of tickles, but she's over at 1:96. Finished just outside the medals in Tokyo.
Back on the track, the feast of great racing continues. The men's 2 miles now, just over 8 laps of the track. The Tokyo Olympic champions at 5,000 metres and 10,000 metres both go in this field. The meeting record, well, it's 8:03.50 by one Craig Mottram, the Australian. Remember him? Back in 2007. This is a fabulously strong field. Only one man ever, though, has gone under 8 minutes. That was Daniel Komen back in 1997. There is Joshua Cheptegei, the Tokyo Olympic 5,000 metre champion. He also happens to be the world record holder of 5,000 and 10,000, the Ugandan. World champion at 10,000 metres in Doha 2019. And the Ugandans building a real head of steam up against the traditional dominant nations of Kenya and Ethiopia. Paul Chelimo, the bronze medalist at 5,000 metres in Tokyo after that Rio silver 5 years ago. Such a strong field, this one. Will Kincaid goes in this one, US Olympic Trials 10,000 metres champion. So does Grant Fisher, who was second in both the Olympic Trials. 5,000 and 10,000, was 5th in the Tokyo 10,000. A lot of 10,000 runners in this race as they get underway. 8 laps of the track now as they go through the line. Mark Scott of Great Britain is there, 14th in the Tokyo 10,000. You have to remember, too, when we talk about those races in Tokyo, any championship 5,000 and 10,000 metres is very sapping, but in the heat and humidity of the Japanese capital, athletes will have come away from Japan with a little bit more fatigue, which takes a few extra days to ease out of the legs. And we'll see which of these athletes has recovered the best, those who raced in Tokyo. Komen's world record, by the way, 7:58.61. And the 2 pacemakers, well, they've been asked to go out here. Josh Thompson is the first of them. Bethwell Bergen will take over in pretty much 60 seconds per lap. He's been asked to make it 3:01 after 3 laps, or after 13:20, in fact.
Worth mentioning Solomon Barega, who of course won the 10,000 metres title in Tokyo, and had he been able to take the 5,000, that would have been a fascinating battle. Back to the high jump. Vashti Cunningham leading the way. Oh yes, brilliant, brilliant from Cunningham. First time clearances all the way through from 183, 187, 193. First time failure at 196. She passed her second attempt. And there she is, clear at 198 at the second attempt. The bar and the gauntlet laid down to Gerashenko. So Gerashenko then needs to respond here. 4th in Tokyo, just outside the medals. Vashti Cunningham finished in 6th place in Japan 2 weeks ago. Oh yes, Now then, this is shaping up nicely. Only 2 jumpers left in the competition. We should also mention that Nafi Thiam was due to take part here, the Olympic heptathlon champion, but she was a late DNS, sadly for her. But Gerashenko then joins Cunningham, clear at 198, and equals her season's best. Kovacs, live action in the shot put. Early stages. Joe Kovacs, the big 3 from Tokyo, who provided the podium, are all here, and they've dominated this event over the last 2 or 3 years. Krauser, of course, we know about. Kovacs, who took silver in Tokyo. Tom Walsh, the bronze medalist, the big man from New Zealand, they're all here. Who can forget, of course, that thrilling finish in Doha at the World Championships. Possibly the most thrilling finish to a field event we've ever seen in a global championship. So no throw for Kovacs. Here is the first sight of Ryan Krauser, who is in quite simply a league of his own. The Olympic champion, and that's why the crowd like it. Last to throw in the sequence. The local man. Born in Portland, just what, an hour or so up the road. Raised in a place called Boring in Oregon. Nothing boring about his shot putting though. 22.95 with his first throw. It's a Diamond League record and a meeting record, and already he's set down and laid down the gauntlet.
Well, they go through 1 mile there in around 4:07, 4:08. This packet's a long way outside what was requested. The pacemaking, well, it's not been perfect. 58.3 the first 400, then a 62, then a 59.7. They went through 1K in 2:29.83, and obviously it slowed significantly over that 4th lap. So Bethwell Bergen due to take them here to 2,000, and the requested time was 5:02.5. Bergen trying to drag them along, but you are powerless, to be fair to the pacemakers. If you go out in front and go close to the requested tempo and the pack don't go with you, well, yes, of course, you can think on your feet and you can slow down a bit and try and entice them to regain contact with you and then pick it up again, but that starts becoming complicated. You can see Bergen there in the white vest looking very relaxed as this pack with Abenyo leading them and glancing round as if to say, come on, anybody coming with me? You're going to help me with this. Went out in his heat of the Tokyo 5000. Cheptegei just tucked in behind him, looks as though he's not remotely interested in taking the lead with 3 laps to run. And you can tell the pace isn't particularly demanding because they're all there. Mark Scott of Great Britain to the right of picture in the red shorts, back in what, about 12th place, as they jostle for positions at the front.
Gerashenko then in the high jump. Just 2 left in the competition. Gerashenko. No. Vashti Cunningham, the only other jumper left.
Well, there's still an awful lot of bodies there with a couple of laps to run. Still Abenyo who leads. And now Barega, the Olympic champion, just beginning to feature. He's slotted into 3rd place, the Tokyo Olympic champion at 10,000 meters. With 2 laps to run, they go through and around 6:12 and a half, 6:13. So this is very much a race, not a fast race, not a time trial. No records being chased down here. Only Komen has gone under 8 minutes, but only 3 other athletes have ever gone under 8:05. I don't think those sort of times are being threatened here. This is going to come down to a big lap burn-up, and Barega easing onto the shoulder there with the athlete in 2nd place. Oh dear, clipped from behind, and it was all getting a little bit too cat and mouse, and that was sort of inevitable, Chris, as Barega hits the front, but still looks relaxed with Cheptegei matching his every stride.
Well, let's look at this again. Just a clip from behind. We saw a lot of physicality in Tokyo, didn't he? That was Abeno, who was towards the front for the majority of the race. He's trying to get back into the back of this pack, but surely too much to ask.
Well, Cheptegei with his compatriot Kiplimo moving up onto his shoulder has the lead at the belt. The time there around 7:14.5. Barega in second place. Jacob Kiplimo, just 20 years old, in third place. Barega, don't let's forget, himself is only 21 in second place. Cheptegei down the back straight now, begins to wind it up. A little glance over his shoulder there to see what sort of damage this is doing. Also going well is Aragawi, the fourth placer in the Tokyo 10,000, in fourth place. And Kincaid it is, back in sixth place, looking great as here comes Paul Chelimo round the outside, but has he left it too late? He's 3 meters down on Cheptegei with 100 to run. The world record holder, the Olympic champion at 5,000 meters, kicks for home, and Barega, the 10,000 champion, is able to get there. Paul Chelimo coming through strongly, Kiplimo in fourth. Chelimo's just going to steal second place, but Cheptegei gets it, 8:09.54. Well, it's quick, and it was a great race, and it makes a change maybe to the pace-made, almost time trial races we get used to sometimes on the circuit. That was a real cat-and-mouse affair, but still quick. 8:09.55, well, that equates to something down in the low 7:30s for 3,000 meters. And he has recovered very well indeed, hasn't he? One Joshua Cheptegei himself, only 24 years old, of course, the world cross-country champion. Loving that one, and he stays aware, doesn't he, Chris? He's got such a good racing brain.
Well, this is the 5,000 meters perhaps that we were denied, because just to remind you, Barega wasn't allowed to double up in Tokyo in the 10 and the 5, so we never got to see Cheptegei against Barega. We did here, and Cheptegei, perhaps a little bit behind that celebration, the chest thumping, would be absolutely delighted, not just with the win, not just with the time, but that was just a little message to say, do you know what? Had we met over 5,000 meters in Tokyo, perhaps the result would have been the same. That's an important win there for the world record holder over 5 and 10.
Barega actually snatching second place, or holding on to second place, I should say. Chelimo falling 100th of a second short. That's almost literally the thickness of his vest. Kiplimo, a personal best there with the fourth place, 8:10. But those times are pretty quick, 8:09 for the first three. With Joshua Cheptegei proving he's not just a time trialist, world record holder, he's a fabulous racer.
Ashley Cunningham then with the bar at 2 meters. Third and final attempt. Just Cunningham, the American, and Gerashenko from Ukraine left in the competition. The others have well gone. Both clear at 1:98 at the second attempt, no. So 3 failures at 2 meters for Gerashenko. Cunningham with 3 failures too. They are inseparable. Here is Gerashenko with her third attempt at 2 meters. It's a season's best. They are inseparable at the moment, even on countback. Ishvinko, a distant third, who failed at 1:93 3 times. So Gerashenko then, just outside the medals in Tokyo. The bar still at 2 meters. Ooh, that was closer. That was closer from Gerashenko. So a third failure for Gerashenko. But on we jump. So both Cunningham, the American, and Gerashenko, the Ukrainian, both failed 3 times at 2 meters. But because they're inseparable, we will jump on.
So Cunningham then. Oof, no. Beginning to reach her limits, I think. And Cunningham having cleared 1:98 second time, meeting her match here at 2 meters. Couple of attempts to go. Gerashenko momentarily snatched the initiative. 1:96, clearing first time, and then Cunningham having failed past her further attempts. Now here she goes. First attempt at 2 meters for the Ukrainian. This would be a new lifetime best. Oh, that was close. Very close indeed. She's looking to see if she can see it up on the giant screen, get a replay, get some feedback from this shot. She really went for it. Yeah, I think her high point was in front of the bar. Came down on the bar. She may adjust her run up because of that. So this shot put where Krause is laying down the standard. Remember opening with that monstrous 22.95. Kovacs, no throw in round 1. Just really struggling to control it. And of course, this partly because of the pressure that Krause has applied with that opener. He knows he's got to go big. 3 no throws for Kovacs to open his competition. Krause round 3. That's another big mark. Technically, he's so superb. 22.90 his second round effort. He's by far the 2 longest throws of the competition. Indeed, he leads by over 1.5 meters with that opener. 22.95 is a Diamond League record. 22.37. What a series he's putting together, and that is probably one of the hallmarks that makes Krause stand out from so many other great 22-meter-plus shot putters, is he gets it right technically, throw after throw after throw.
1,500 meters, the women's 1,500 meters, one of the highlights here on the program here on Saturday in Eugene. The top 2 from Tokyo are here. Second left of picture there, Faith Kipyegon, the double Olympic champion, only the second woman in history to win back-to-back 1,500-meter Olympic titles. For many, quite simply, the greatest 1,500-meter runner of all time, with fabulous consistency. Faith Kipyegon making her 7th appearance here at the pre-classic. Laura Muir, silver, finally got her global medal in Tokyo with a huge lifetime best, 3:54.50, and a brilliant national record as well. Thoroughly deserved. Gabby Debus Stafford, former training partner of Muir, formerly based in Glasgow, now with the Bowerman Track Club here in Oregon. Second fastest time ever in the semi-final in Tokyo. A great quality field here with the 2 Australians as well, Jessica Hull and Lyndon Hall. Women's 1,500 meters. 3 3/4 laps of the track. And they've asked for a pretty quick pace, 62.50 through 400 meters, which would put them on 3:54 pace, which is pretty lively. Chanel Price there with the pacemaking duties heading the front. But Faith Kipyegon, really so impressive. Kicked with 250 meters to go in that final in Tokyo. Let's forget that Sifan Hassan was going for that unprecedented treble, had lots of racing in her legs. She is also here this weekend in Eugene, of course, having opted for the 5,000 meters on Friday, just failing to get that world record, showing some fatigue after 6 races in 9 days. But Price leading them through here. Laura Muir will feel so pleased, an extra inch tall, I'm sure, after getting that Olympic silver medal. But normal order really restored here, with Kipyegon leading the way behind the pacemaker and Laura Muir tucked in second place.
Well, they come to 400 meters, Chris, 62.41. That is brilliant pacemaking by Chanel Price. Kipyegon following her every stride. Laura Muir knows her task here is to keep right onto the hold on to the coattails, in effect, of the Olympic champion, the double Olympic champion. Jebitok there trying to stay with Muir. But this is just flat out running. There's hardly a tactic being employed here. It's very tough indeed. When a pacemaker's been asked to go out at close to world record schedule, then everybody is out there on the red line. And Muir here, even allowing a couple of meters to develop between herself and Kipyegon in second place.
Yes, a little bit of a gap opening up. Jebitok in third place with Debut Stafford, who's changed her hairstyle. She had the rainbow colours in her hair, now opting for purple. The Canadian now based in Oregon, but Kipyegon looking so fresh. She said after that victory in Tokyo, I wasn't even tired. And let's not forget, she only gave birth to her daughter just under 3 years ago. But here she is with Chanel Price looking round just to make sure that Kipyegon is still there. 2:04 through 800 metres, absolutely perfect pacemaking there by Chanel Price. All credit to her. Kipyegon has a clear lead.
Well, the jump-off continues in this women's high jump. The bar at 196. And now Cunningham failing her attempt. It's sudden death now. They both had 3 failures at 2 meters. They both had a further attempt at 2 meters, failed that. Then the bar went down to 198. They both failed that. Now the bar at 196. And the initiative is thrown back into the hands of Gerashenko.
Kipyegon hits the bell, went through 1 kilometre in 2:36, and really this is just a one-woman show, exhibition stuff here. Look at that lead, 40 metres, and the dust-up for second place is really where the race is, because Kipyegon is out of sight here. And now Josette Morris, who's having a fine season, is in the mix there. The American, who went under 4 minutes for the first time, finished 8th in the US trials. Could be a world record on here. Kipyegon is pressing down the gas. Let's remind ourselves, the world record Genzebe Dibaba set in 2015, 3:50. Kipyegon lights out, gold medalist in Tokyo just 2 weeks ago. Is out on her own, coming into the final straight. Let's keep an eye on the clock. The race behind is between Debut Stafford, Hall, the Australian. She's going to be very close indeed. Faith Kipyegon coming towards the line. She's going to be just outside. Faith Kipyegon, 3:53.22. Another valiant attempt. Lyndon Hall, the Australian record holder, comes home in second place. Josette Norris continues her fine form just outside the 4-minute mark. It's a meeting record, it goes without saying. A valiant effort, but that, to meet him, looked like a world record attempt. We weren't tipped off beforehand that there would be one, but that was an outstanding piece of front running by Faith Kipyegon, given the amount of racing she's got in her legs in the last few weeks, but coming up just short.
Well, that early pace destroyed Laura Muir. She finished way down the field, but Kipyegon has come back and recovered from Tokyo so well. And a little glance over her shoulder there, but there was no need. She had a lead of about 35-40 metres. Improves on her own meeting record there from 6 years ago, does Faith Kipyegon, Chris, in 3:53, in what was frankly an exhibition run. What could she have done if she'd had some racing to do there over that final lap and a half or so? Brilliant run for second place there, I think won by Hull.
Well, Kipyegon, we said at the top of the race, for many people, simply the greatest 1500-metre runner of all time, and that, again, is a performance that would tend to back that up. Lyndon Hall coming through in second place. Josette Norris confirming her increasing reputation there. But Faith Kipyegon celebrating. She's made the move. She had her year off to have her baby. Came back to Doha. Silver, and her consistency is fabulous. She's failed to finish outside the top 2 in every major championship since 2014. Now training up in Kaptagat with Patrick Sang, who's the coach, of course, of the likes of Eliud Kipchoge and Geoffrey Komrawara. Well, brilliant.
We can go back to this shot put now. Krauser, what a series he's building. Already a Diamond League record with that first round, 22.95. His second and third round efforts were 22 meters and beyond. Here's round 4. Oh, Ryan Krauser goes further in round 4. Joe Kovacs fouled out in rounds 1, 2, and 3. Did record a mark in round 4, but it was 21.94, still huge. But that one from Krauser is beyond 23 meters. Uses every millimeter of that circle And that is very, very close to his world lead, which of course is the world record, 23:15 by Krause. He's homing in on that mark from the 18th of June at the US Olympic Trials, 23:37, his world record from earlier this summer. 2 rounds to go.
Well, Faith Kipyegon still looks incredibly fresh.
Well, the glorious wooded hills of Eugene protecting the stadium from any strong winds today. The performances have been superb, as we anticipated, from one discipline to the next. The jump-off continues in this women's high jump. Gerashenko, bar now at 194. She couldn't take the opportunity handed to her by Cunningham, and she jumps second each time. Cunningham has had her attempt at 194. Every time she fails, it opens the door of opportunity for the Ukrainian. Gerashenko here was 4th at the Olympic Games 2 weeks ago. Cunningham was 6th. 194, this for the win. Oh, they're tiring too. They've had a lot of jumps. That was the 16th jump of Gerashenko's competition. Ironically, as the bar goes down in 2-centimeter increments, that's just under an inch. So they are getting more and more tired, and they're having to focus. They've been out there a long time now. In fact, they've been out there for, well over an hour and a half, including their warm-up. The competition itself has been going for almost an hour and a half. Bar now goes down to 1.92 meters.
Well, we don't see this very often, do we, Tim? This is a real war of attrition here, and stamina. The last 2 women standing and jumping, they've been out there on their own for almost the entire competition. Just to remind you, the last other jumper went out at 190.
So Kovacs then, well, trying to get anywhere near Ryan Krause. Remember, 23:15 for Krause. Kovacs there recorded his only valid effort in round 4, 21:94, and that round 5 effort is a no-throw as well. He's in second place, comfortably in second place by over half a meter from the Brazilian Darlan Romani, who threw 21:40 in round 3. But Krause operating at a different level.
The women's 400 meters hurdles, the Olympic final in Tokyo produced the 3 fastest times in history. Sydney McLaughlin, of course, one of 3 world records in track and field. Let's take you through the lineup. Leah Nugent from Jamaica goes in lane 9 on the outside, the Jamaican number 3, 6th in Rio. Gianna Woodruff from Panama, South American record holder, made the final in Tokyo, finished 7th. Rhonda White from Jamaica, the 30-year-old finalist in the Commonwealth Games, goes in 7th. Shamir Little, now then, big performer, 5th fastest of all times, but only 4th in the US trial, so didn't make the team for Tokyo. She goes in lane 6. Dalila Muhammad, now 12 months ago, Muhammad was both the Olympic champion and the world record holder. Not anymore. Olympic silver medalist in Tokyo, and now only the 2nd fastest of all time behind McLaughlin. Genevieve Russell goes in 4th in Tokyo, but a distant 4th, over a 2nd behind Fenka Bol, who finished in the bronze medal position. She's in 4. Anna Ryshkova from Ukraine in 3, European silver medalist, 5th in that Tokyo final. Sage Watson, the Canadian record holder, failed to make the final in Tokyo, but did so in the 4x400 meter relay. And on the inside, Cara Haley from the USA, hails from Atlanta, former world youth champion. But a mark of how this event has moved on. The world record, previously held by Yulia Peshonkina, has been beaten 7 times since 2019. Sydney McLaughlin resting here, not here in Eugene. So Muhammad there in 5, Little on her outside in 6, Russell on the inside of her in lane 4. Women's 400 meters hurdles. as always, interesting to see what sort of hangover, if anything, these athletes have had. And it's Dalilah Muhammad who was first to rise, already up on the shoulder of Shamir Little in the trademark blonde hair. And Muhammad has gone out very, very hard indeed here. She likes to go out aggressively, centre of picture there, Dalilah Muhammad, maybe with something to prove, profiting from the absence of Sydney McLaughlin. Can she sustain this through the latter stages of the race? Work to do there for Little. Also going well is Rhonda White. Geneve Russell coming through as well, but at the moment it's Dalilah Muhammad really in a race of her own, and the battle for second behind her. Dalilah Muhammad, let's keep an eye on the clock over the final flight, and now a race to the line. Little coming through to take second place, rallying well. 52.77, it is a meeting record. It's a great response after a lot of racing in the last 2 weeks, therefore, Dalilah Muhammad. A reminder that her time of 51.58 in that Olympic final on any other day would have been a world record. It wasn't, but she backs it up with a meeting record here, 52.77. Shamir Little coming through to take second place.
Well, she does go out hard, doesn't she? I love the way that these 400-metre hurdlers on the men's and women's scene at the moment, Chris, throw the gauntlet down early on. They really attack the barriers. You can see her striving here. Look at the gap between the five behind her, battling away. You were right, it was a really good rally by Shamir Little in lane 6 outside her to come through to second, but that's a 6-7 metre winning margin there for Dalilah Muhammad, 52.77. We've become so spoilt in this discipline after that Olympic Games final where the fastest 3 times in history went to the 3 medalists a couple of weeks back. You know, we're taking these sub-53 second times almost for granted, but only a handful of women ever have gone quicker than that.
Good finish from Woodruff as well to take third, a new area record for her in 54.20, but an excellent recovery there, if that's the right word, for Muhammad after the disappointment of relinquishing her Olympic title in Tokyo. Shamir Little rallying well to come home to make it a US 1-2.
Well, in the absence of the Olympic champion and world record holder Sydney McLaughlin, nothing more could have been asked of Dalilah Muhammad. Maybe if there'd been a challenge for her through the second half there, she could have stretched out another few meters. But that was, again, a fabulous response, and she clearly has recovered well, Chris, from the exertions of Tokyo. Look at that arena. Aesthetically, it has to be one of the most beautiful newly built arenas around.
Yeah, capacity of just under 13,000, which can rise to 30. Now, can Vashti Cunningham rise to victory here in the high jump off? No. Oh, goodness me. So let's just recap. The bar came in at 179. We rose to 2 meters. Gerashenko and Cunningham inseparable at 2 meters, and so down we went in 2 centimeter increments, down to 198, 196, 194, 192. And here we are back up again at 194, still trying to separate these two. Gerashenko then. Yes! Whoa, finally! Both cleared at 192, having failed both at 194. The bar went down to 192. They both succeeded at 192, so back we went up. Cunningham wasn't able to clear 194. Gerashenko was, and she takes the victory, having missed out on a medal in Tokyo narrowly. Well, perhaps something of a comfort here for Gerashenko to get the victory in the Diamond League. And it equals her season's best as well, having succeeded at 198. What a competition.
And it continues. The men's 100 meters next. And what a lineup has been gathered here. Meeting record 9.76 by Justin Gatlin was 7 years ago. And that in itself was 10 years after Gatlin took the Olympic title in Athens in 2004. But Gatlin, can you believe, still fighting on. He's in this field at the age of 39. The athletes just prepping themselves here Olympic champion at 200 meters, has selected this one, the Canadian Andre de Grasse, over the 200 that we saw just a little while ago. There is de Grasse, who has had a number of challenges, injury problems included, since Tokyo, since Rio, where he took a brace of medals behind Usain Bolt, but he has come back to his best this year.
So the shot put reaches the final three, and this is how they got there. Darlan Romani will be in the final three with 21.69 in round 5. Joe Kovacs also takes his place in the final three, courtesy of 21.94 in round 4. But no doubt at all, the man of the last couple of years, really, Ryan Krauser, the world record holder, at the best of them all, 23.15 in round 4, 23.15, his best effort, a Diamond League record. So we have our final three. There they are, Krauser, Kovacs and Romani.
And Chris, this sort of double or quits final three format means that Krauser, having with every one of his first 5 throws thrown better than the rest of the field, every single effort would have won if it was a 5-round competition. Goes into this final round and he could still lose.
Yep, total jeopardy under this format. It gives an extra edge and it gives total focus. The whole meeting comes to a halt to give the shot putters centre stage. So often some of the best performances in a Diamond League meeting get lost if we're in the middle of track action, but no, under this new trial format, the final three is the only action in town. It's on the infield, and as is tradition, they will throw in reverse order. So first it will be the Brazilian Darlan Romani, first into the circle. Meeting record holder, 22.61, set a couple of years ago here at Hayward Field. So the first 5 rounds are wiped clean. We start again, and this is the bonus throw for each of these 3. So Romani then will lay down a marker. Does he go for it? Does he play safe? Well, he's gone for it. It's a pretty good effort. His best effort in regulation, if we can call it that, was 21.69. He has thrown 21.88 this season.
There was some tape or something flapping around off that shot as it went through the air, Chris, I'm sure. Very unusual. Whether it came off his hand and stuck to the implement, I'm not sure, but 21.44, a brilliant start for Romani, and that'll take a little bit of catching.
So Kovacs then, second into the circle. His target, 21.44, but he knows he's got Krauser coming behind him. That's better. That's an improvement from Kovacs. Silver medalist, but it gets to the red flag, no throw. So that means, by definition, Kovacs is in 3rd place. So Romani, having landed a mark in this final 3, is leading the way. And so Krauser, who will be next into the circle, has to improve on the 21.44 of Darlan Romani.
Well, here he is. Every one of his 5 throws so far has been way beyond Romani's 21.44, but this is the one that counts, and it looks big. Surely it's good enough. Gets the white flag, and it will be measured. And what was surely all but a foregone conclusion does indeed come to pass. Ryan Krauser, having nailed that world record earlier on this summer, is just quite astonishing. This is such a tough discipline to control. That technique is tough to control, rather, the rotational technique. And yet he has mastered it to such a degree. 22.41. Well, he's had 4 throws better than that. It's only his 5th best throw, but it wins the final 3 shootout. and he is winner at Prix once again.
Next action on the track, the men's 100 metres, and yet again, an absolutely stacked field.
Well, it is, Chris, yes, and it includes the fastest man in the world this year. Craven Gillespie goes in lane 1. He was 6th in the US Olympic trials. Ronnie Baker, World Indoor Championship bronze medalist a couple of years ago in the UK, was 5th in Tokyo in 9.95. He goes into... There is Justin Gatlin. He's won this meeting 4 times. He won in 2012, 2013, 2014, and again in 2016 before going on to take the Olympic silver medal in Rio 5 years back behind Usain Bolt. He's 39 now, Gatlin. He goes in lane 3. There's Akani Simbine. What a summer the South African has had. 4th in Tokyo. Very consistent. World number 5 this year against the clock. Fred Curley goes in lane 5. He has a fabulous range, 9.84 for 100, his best. That coming in Tokyo, where he took the silver medal. Andre de Grasse, the 200-meter champion in Tokyo, took the bronze medal in the 100. He's back in fabulous form, the Canadian, still only 26. Trayvon Bromell, the fastest man in the world this year, ran 9.77 back in early June in Florida. He goes in lane 7, former world indoor champion back in 2016 in Portland. Isaiah Young goes in lane 8. 5th in the US Olympic trials at 200 meters. Didn't get to run in Tokyo, wasn't part of the relay squad that performed. And Mike Norman goes in lane 9. 5th in the Tokyo 400 meters. And he too is one of that very, very select group. I think there's only 3 of them who have broken 10 seconds for 100, 20 seconds for 200, and 44 seconds for 400. Mike Norman's best 9.86, coming back in mid-July at Fort Worth, Texas. So bragging rights then for Prix 2021. Over 100 meters about to be decided. Gillespie in 1, Ronnie Baker in 2, Justin Gatlin goes in 3, don't discount him. Simbine goes in 4 for South Africa. Fred Curley, the silver medalist in Tokyo, in 5. De Grasse goes in 6, Bromell goes in 7, Young in 8. Mike Norman to left of picture. And De Grasse going well in the white, but so is Fred Curley. Fred Curley and De Grasse coming through, and that 200-meter strength taking him across the line, and wins from Fred Curley. And on the far side, I think maybe Ronnie Baker it was who took 3rd spot. And the time, 9.73 for De Grasse. Well, that is a huge new personal best. 9.89 in Tokyo was his lifetime best. Took the bronze, remember, in the 100 behind the Italian Lamont Marcel Jacobs, who has said he's not going to race again after Tokyo until next year. That was one of the biggest shocks of the track and field program at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Fred Curley took 2nd in Tokyo, De Grasse 3rd, but fresh here. De Grasse wins the 100 meters, and what a time he churns out. A big new personal best. And Chris, he might not have led out of the blocks. He had a good start, but boy, his second half.
Well, what a brilliant, once he got into his running out of the drive phase, and he just went from strength to strength, that 200-meter strength, coming to the 4, even had time for a little glance at the clock. And I can tell you, 9.74, the 5th fastest of all times. This track is lightning quick. And De Grasse, so often the nearly man, coming away from Tokyo with a bronze in the 100 meters and then gold in the 200. Continuing that rich vein of form, and it's been fascinating, hasn't it, Tim, to see how these athletes have recovered from all the exertions of Tokyo. Some have really just seamlessly continued their excellent form. Others have struggled. We saw Laura Muir really struggling, but De Grasse has just gone from strength to strength.
Well, he enjoyed a plus 2.9 wind there, so that will invalidate any records or personal bests that may have been set. But that matters not a jot to Andre De Grasse. He grasped the opportunity, and that was quick. 9.74. Fred Curley wasn't far back, 9.78. Very close for 2nd and 3rd. Ronnie Baker, 9.82 for 3rd. There it is. Sub 10-second times are so commonplace these days. But De Grasse, well, he is the real deal at 100 as well as 200. I still think 200 is his better event, but this was superb. He did get a good start. Curley probably got the better start for the pair, but it's just from halfway. His second half is so strong. Probably hitting top speed at about 80 or 90 meters there late in the race.
A word about Trayvon Bromell as well, coming back to finishing fourth after a desperately disappointing showing in Tokyo. He was the form man, wasn't he, going into those games? But de Grasse, and you can forget that wonderful little live video link up with Nia Ali, his partner, his children, live from Tokyo, back to home in Canada.
Well, he came away from Tokyo, of course, with 3 medals, having won the 200 and taken the bronze in the 100, and then a bronze in the 4x100 meters relay. De Grasse, and that may be promoted to a silver medal if the UK team do get disqualified, which is a possibility.
Well, let's just wrap up this women's pole vault. Katie Najot, the Olympic champion. The bar at 482, only Holly Bradshaw, that's the way she did it, to follow up her success in Tokyo. And yet another athlete who has kept that momentum going. So impressive, not just physically. They've all had a long flight. Most of these athletes have flown halfway around the world, just 2 weeks. But it's the mental and almost emotional toll it takes. Very impressive. So there is the final result. The Olympic champion Najot taking victory here ahead of the Olympic bronze medalist Holly Bradshaw. Groover, the American, taking third. Disappointment for Stefanini once again, and just a question mark perhaps over her form for the rest of the year. So 2 more events to bring you before we conclude here at Hayward Field. We have the men's mile, the Bowerman Mile, to conclude, but first of all, the women's 200 meters. And well, a first glimpse since Tokyo of the USA's most decorated Olympian now, Allyson Felix, of course, with 11 Olympic medals, surpassing even the great Carl Lewis. Took bronze in the 400 meters in Tokyo, and lines up here in a really impressive 200-meter lineup. And she's got some great company here. 3 athletes in this race, doubling up. Kambunji, Talu and Richardson all ran in the 100 meters barely an hour ago. Faith Kipyegon still out there celebrating, as well she might, Tim.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a nice temperature in Eugene this afternoon. Around 22 degrees centigrade. The Pacific Northwest, indeed much of North America, has experienced freakishly high temperatures in recent weeks. Indeed, at the US Olympic trials, it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit many days. They had to adjust the timetables because of the temperatures, and I suspect many of these American athletes are delighted to be back in Hayward Field with more user-friendly temperatures.
So a world-class field, and what a year it's been for this event, the women's 200 meters. Just to give you some background and context, 8 different women have gone sub 22 seconds this year, and some of them are in this field here. Features the world champion Dina Asher-Smith, Allyson Felix, as we mentioned, the most decorated US Olympic athlete of all time. Kerry Richardson goes again in the 200 after a disappointing 100 just over an hour ago. Gabby Thomas as well, the US #1 in this women's 200 meters. Half a lap of the track, but Allyson Felix, who's been, well, she's captured the imagination on all sorts of levels, not just her prowess as an athlete, but as a mother as well. 4 times a Diamond Trophy winner. Daughter Cameron was watching on with great pride, I'm sure. 35 years old now. She first won here at the pre-classic in 2012, that's 9 years ago, and here she is, still competing at the very highest level. She must be delighted to be feeling this track under her feet in this renovated stadium. So the lineup in full. Bryant goes in the outside lane. There is Brown. Brittany Brown in lane 9 from the USA. Jenna Prandini, 28-year-old, goes in lane 8. Made the US team in the 100 and the 200 meters for Tokyo. Made the semi-final in both events. Gabby Thomas in lane 6, US #1, ran that astonishing 21.61 at the US trials. At the time, the second fastest in history. There is Dina Asher-Smith, who had a really frustrating and disappointing, but in the end mixed Tokyo. Hamstring tear that she picked up in the UK trials kept her out of the 200 meters, but still came back to win bronze in the relay. There is Felix with those 7 gold, 3 silver and 1 Olympic bronze medals now to her name. An absolute legend, and rightly so. A brilliant reception for the 35-year-old. She's in lane 4. Well, Marie-Josée Tarlou looks to be a no-show in lane 3. So Kambunji, who doubled up, is in her place. And Nina Irby on the inside, former World Junior silver medalist, who was 7th at the US trials. So we've lost Richardson and we've lost Tarlou in this 200 meters. But we still have Felix in 4, Asher-Smith in 5, Gabby Thomas in lane 6. Great chance here for Gabby Thomas to build on that bronze medal from Tokyo.
Or your marks.
So the lineup again from the inside: Irby in 2, Kambunji in 3, Felix, USA in 4, Asher-Smith, Great Britain in 5, Gabby Thomas, USA in 6, Prandini, Brown and Bryant complete the lineup. Women's 200 meters.
Set.
Keep an eye on Dina Asher-Smith in the black centre of picture to see how that hamstring holds up. Has made a good start. Really, really good bend runner, as is Kambunji coming through on the inside. But here comes Gabby Thomas. Thomas coming through. Kambunji is holding her form well, but Thomas is just going to be pipped on the line. 22.06, Kambunji coming through impressively from lane 3. Gabby Thomas may have just pipped her on the line. Goodness me. Well, Kambunji has registered a huge personal best there. Just waiting for the time to come up. Oh, she's had a brilliant year, hasn't she? Made the final in both the 100 and the 200 meters in Tokyo. And no wonder she's smiling. We're just waiting for the times to come up. There's been a bit of a delay on the times coming through on our system here.
Well, Chris, 22.06 came up. If it's anything close to that, it's a monstrous PB and national record of Kambunji. And in lane 2, you know, that wasn't a great lane draw. 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8, much better than that. She's taking some huge scalps there. And she ran such a strong bend. She came into the straight at least equally in the lead, Mujinga Kambunji. At 29, she has found a new lease of life this last couple of years. Look at her there, second to right. Brilliant from Kambunji. Dina Asher-Smith came off the bend, I think in the lead, but here she's chased down by Gabby Thomas, the world #1, who just runs out of track to catch Kambunji, and she may not have been aware of Kambunji so far away over on her left. Quite a gap behind Dina Asher-Smith in 3rd place. I'm just delighted that the Britain's hamstring has survived that test, and now she can look at tackling the next few weeks aggressively, hopefully get some good races in the Diamond League meetings coming up. There's Lausanne this coming Thursday, Paris on Saturday, and then of course Brussels and Zurich as well.
Results now coming through, as you can see. A little bit of a delay, so apologies for that, but 22.06 confirmed. It's a huge lifetime best for Kambundji. Thomas did come through strongly, finished well in the last 20 metres to come through and pip Asher Smith. Asher Smith coming through in third, but let's look at it again. We're just keeping an extra special eye there on the hamstring of Dina Asher Smith, who was bitterly disappointed, absolutely devastated to have to pull out of the 200 metres after failing to make the final, remember, in the 100 metres. Kambundji's second right there, ran a great bend, still work to do here, and Thomas, look, coming through between Asher Smith and Prandini well to take second place, so she finished in great form, 22.11 to finish second. Asher Smith 22.19, and to many people surprised that Asher Smith was even able to travel here with confidence, but that suggests that the hamstring, which was initially diagnosed as a complete rupture and then revised by a second opinion to be a tear, has held up well.
Has held up well. Kambundji there, beating Gabby Thomas, the Olympic bronze medalist, by a small margin, but a great scalp for the Swiss athlete. Next event on the track, indeed the final event on the track, is the Bowerman Mile, the men's mile, and there is Bill Bowerman, one of the great coaches of the Oregon scene in years gone by, a legendary character, got his own corner of the stadium there. And what a gorgeous sweeping stand they have constructed, those timber arches supporting the roof. Unique. And you know, if you think about the great historic stadiums, Chris, like Stockholm and one or two others, this is the most glorious modern stadium, without any doubt, for my money. Now this Bowerman Mile, Timothy Cheruiyot was the reigning world champion at 1,500 meters, but he took silver in Tokyo behind this young man, still 20 years old, the Norwegian Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He won in Tokyo in an Olympic record. He's now the European Olympic champion. Enormous strength. Remember that European 5,000 meter record in Florence back in early June, 12:48. Stewie McSweyn, he's the world #1 this year, having won in Oslo in 3:48, a new Australian record a month or two back. Matt Centrowitz, the Rio Olympic champion, in that desperate last lap dash in Brazil 5 years ago. Went out in the semi-finals in Tokyo, determined to make amends here is Centrowitz as this field goes to the line. Well, it's not a big field, and that's probably a good thing. Eric Sawinski doing his second pace-making job of the day. At least that was what was originally asked. But that is not Sawinski pushing to the fore now. It's Timothy Sane in second place, I think. And it is Novak who has gone to the front. Here's a late addition to this field to take them out. We are looking for 151, 152 at the halfway point. Now Cheruiyot back in about 7th at the moment. I suspect he might just track Ingebrigtsen. Ingebrigtsen in 5th place. It's Novak from Stewie McSweyn in the yellow. McSweyn will want a good fast pace the whole way, that's for sure. He's not an 800-meter specialist. He likes the strong tempo, and he'll be delighted with that split. 55.36 for the first quarter.
It's lively. Stewie McSweyn, such a naturally aggressive runner, but really the subtext of this race is the rematch between Ingebrigtsen, Jakob that is, and Cheruiyot, who finally beat the Kenyan at the 11th attempt in that 1,500-meter final.
No, that's exactly right, Chris. The score is 10-1 in the favour of Cheruiyot, but McSweyn here is taking this on. He was 7th in Tokyo himself. He will have been very disappointed without the 26-year-old Australian. A little glance over his shoulder there to see what sort of damage this is doing, and Ingebrigtsen is a good racer. Likes it too, a hard, fast pace from the gun. He'll be delighted with the way this is going. He's gradually closing up on Stewie McSwain. Isolated at the moment, Ingebrigtsen. Chariot leading the pack along. And when you think about it, Chris, to run really quick miles under 350, you've got to go out in around 56, 57 tempo and just maintain that lap after lap. You don't need astonishing 51, 52 second finishing speed if you can run that second each lap very, very strongly. And this is what Ingebrigtsen does. He makes it a test of strength rather than speed. Chariot's a 1:43.800 runner, but that becomes irrelevant with the way Ingebrigtsen, now in second place behind McSwain, runs.
He likes to run right on the edge. He's said so many times that his tempo runs are just inside that red line that makes it difficult to sustain, but he gets the right side of the line, and that gives him the confidence to be able to win from any position.
Well, at the moment, Chariot about 15 metres down, leading that pack, looking very mortal. The rest of them are there. Ollie Hoare is in there, Jake Edward of Great Britain, and McSwain glancing over his shoulder, probably can't believe what he's seeing as they come to the bell, but this is being set up wonderfully for Jakob Ingebrigtsen as they come to the bell. He's got the Australian in his sights, 2:50 at the bell. That was a 57.9, almost 58 seconds, yet the pack made no impression at all. If anything, Chris, they probably opened another 5 metres up.
Extraordinary. Stewie McSwain aggressively taking it out here. Ingebrigtsen surely just biding his time, and at some point the handbrake will come off, and is it now?
It is now. Here's that forward lean, and he's so powerful in the legs. Look at his legs. Looks like a rugby player. Looks like a really powerful midfield player in a ball sport, not a middle distance runner, with enormous strength and stamina. That 12:48 5,000 meter strength coming to the fore now, because he can outlast athletes, anybody in the world, in this sort of race. Watch the clock. This is going to be quick. The world record, remember, stands at 3:43 by El Garouj. I don't think it's going to be that quick, but it is going to be quick, and a big new personal best here, I think, for Ingebrigtsen as he crosses the line. 3:47.24. Wow, it is a new meeting record. Suleiman's mark of 2014 was 3:47.32. And Ingebrigtsen, while he might stop with his hands and his knees, still manages to make it look relatively easy, doesn't he? He is an absolute phenomenon. 6 men in that field have broken 3:50 before today. They included, of course, Ingebrigtsen and Stewie McSwain. But I'm not sure too many others have gone under 3:50 in that race, Chris, because the gap behind them was massive.
It was indeed, and that 3:47.24 puts him in the top 10 fastest of all time. But all credit to McSwain as well for playing his part. He's such an attractive runner to watch, but he did provide a target for Ingebrigtsen, who's just barely, gives the impression he's barely breaking sweat. He's such an economical runner, and just glided past the Australian down the back straight with, 2:50 to go. Just a little glance over the shoulder, still looking relaxed, maintaining that composure. No stress or tightness in the shoulders. Goodness me, that is impressive. And I just wonder, Tim, a final thought, whether this is underlining perhaps a changing of the guard from Chariot to Ingebrigtsen moving forward.
Absolutely, and this young man could dominate for nigh on a decade, barring disaster. At the age of 20, he has the world at his feet. He has gold medals back at home. He was only 17 when, of course, when he won the European titles at 1,500 and 5,000 back in 2018 in Berlin in that glorious Olympic stadium. And there is more to come from Ingebrigtsen. I really believe the world record is living on borrowed time. He's 3 seconds away from it there with that run, but he's won pretty comfortably, frankly, and here he is, just 2 or 3 minutes later, and he's able to jog round the bend and celebrate. His powers of recovery are astonishing.
Well, it's been a truly memorable, brilliant first Diamond League meeting here in Oregon, and the meetings will come thick and fast, because just next Thursday, 5 days' time, we'll be in Lausanne on the shores of Lake Geneva. Then it's off to Paris as we build up towards the climax of the Diamond League season in Zurich in early September. Brilliant performances, though, from many Olympic gold medalists, including Thompson-Hera. And the momentum from these Olympic champions impressively maintained here in Eugene, Oregon. It's been a great day from Chris Dennis and Tim Hutchins. We'll see you again shortly.